Hey guys, welcome to the channel, and in this video I will be explaining you one concept in operating system, that is fork system call. So first I will explain what fork is, and after with help of these two codes I will explain that clearly how fork works. Fork system call, this is very important system call in an operating system used for creating the process or the child process. So the first task of this fork system call is to use to create the child processes or any process. Suppose if we have parent, that means the function from which we are calling this fork system call. When we call this fork system call from any process, let's say we are parent and we call this fork system, then it will create a child process. That means it will create one process, and whatever is the statement after the fork that needs to be executed, that will be executed for both for parent as well as child process simultaneously. Okay, and when we create this child process, our task is to distinguish between what is the parent process and which one is the child process. What it does, it's fork returns the positive value, that is the process id of the child process, to the parent, and it returns 0 for newly created process, and it retains negative if the process is unsuccessful. So now what process is unsuccessful is, suppose if parent call this fork system call, and if it fails to create the child process, so in that case it returns negative value, which indicate that the process creation is unsuccessful. So this can be done, or this is because of many issues, like one does not have the permissions to call the fork system call, or there is a memory which is not available, which is used to create this child process. So there are many more reasons in which the child process return negative value, that indicates that the process creation is unsuccessful. Okay, so things you have to note down is, or keep in mind is, whenever the parent call this fork system call and the child process is created, the address space for both the parent and the child are different. That means it has the same values on which it is working in, same statement on which the both are working in, but both has a different address space. And to get the process id for the particular child process, what we're gonna use is get id function. Get pid function is used to retrieve the process id, and the type of this variable is PIDT. Suppose if we want to get the process id, then what we gonna do is, we have defined a process id variable whose type is of PID underscore t, and it is defined in sys/type.h. So these header files we have to include in our code to use this get PID function. Okay, now this point is very important. Whenever every process is assigned some time quantum for which it will run, and if the execution time for either parent of the child is slow, then it will execute in one go. So what does this mean is, I will explain this with the help of the code. Okay, till now you remember that there is a time quantum for which every process need to be run. There is a time for which every process need to be run, and the time quantum is assigned to that process. That means in one go how much content of this process work, that is defined by this time quantum. And once this time quantum is exceeded, then the chance is given to the next process, and again after some time the time quantum is given to this process which is running. So remember this point. I will explain this point with the help of the code. So now let's look at the code for it. What we have here, we are two code. I will first show you this starting code. In this, what we have done, we have created a variable of type PID underscore t, and we use or call this fork system call. Once this fork system call is called, then whatever we are called with this parent process, and this will create one child process, and this child process contains some statements to run. That statements are this: whatever is after the fork system call, the statements after the fork system call is now run by both parent as well as by child simultaneously. Okay, so these 4 lines of code is executed by both parents and child. Now what this lines of code is doing is, first it will get the PID, and this it will print this is a process ID, either it is of parent or child. Let's say in this case we have a process ID of 302 for parent and 303 for child. So it will print that this is process ID this, and it will show what is the current iteration of this loop it is running. So I am taking this demo code just to show that this both run concurrently, or these two both threads run concurrently. Okay, so now let's execute this code and try to get what it will generate. Let me save this code, and when we compile it, it is showing some warnings, but it's fine. So when we run it, it is running like this. See, either for the child or for the parent, one has a process ID of 9800 and one has the process ID of 9799. So as we can see, both run concurrently for some time, or it can switch between them. See, 9800 first run for 158 iteration, then 9799 process run for 165 iterations, and then 9800, then 9799, and so on. So this is simple output which it will generate when we run this code. So this output shows that both the processes run concurrently, and it will execute the statement followed by this fork system call. Okay, so now let's analyze the second code. Let me comment it down. Okay, so this code, in this what we have done, we have created 2 functions, that is a child process function and the parent process function, and in both the function what we are doing, for a particular range of variable we are just printing child is processing, and so on. And once this for loop is done for both child process and parent process, it will print either child is done or parent is done. Okay, and in the main function we have created one variable PID of type PID underscore t, and we use this fork system call to create the child process. So whatever is the statement after the fork system call, as I have told, is executed by both child and parent process. It will first check if PID is equal 0. So it will assign to the child process, as I have shown you here also. It returns 0 for newly created process. Okay, as I have shown you here also. Now if process ID is 0, so in that case it will call the child process, and parent will call the parent process accordingly on the basis of this PID. This is also one simple case or simple code. I will execute this and show you what is the output it will generate. Okay, so we have to first compile it. It compiled successfully, and when we run it, what it's doing is, see, child is processing, parent is processing, parent is processing, child is, so it both will run concurrently, and whatever is begin first, it shows that parent is done and it shows that child is done. So this is simple concurrent process, both will work on. Now what I mean by this last statement is, I will show you that now. Suppose if I change the range to 5 only, that is very short, and I compile this code again, and when I try to execute it, it executed in one go only, because the time quantum assigned to it is small and this value is also very small, 5. So this lies in the range of the time quantum. So parent finished processing all of its code, and after that child finished process all of its code. So this is the simple case of that only for time quantum. So hope you get this fork system call. This can be asked in interviews question, in which there is a chance of asking the operating system question. So they simply ask you what is a fork system call, explain it with the help of the example. So either you can choose this example, or that example which I have showed you earlier. And the points you need to remember is what are the values returned by this fork system call, that is positive, 0 and negative, and in what scenario it will return what value. These are the questions asked in interviews question. Hope you get it. See you in the next video. Till then, okay, bye bye.